Hello there, welcome to another episode of the Allotment Dram. This is a series of short videos where we sit and talk about different whiskies in the surroundings of our North London allotment, and you join me here today on what's been a bit chilly actually for mid-April, a bit damp as well, a bit grey as you can see around me. It follows a couple of weeks of unseasonably warm weather actually, and we're now back to the sort of April showers as it should be. It means everything's growing, of course, everything around me is growing, including the weeds unfortunately, but yeah, it means we're starting to be able to pick some things. You know, I've got some lemon verbena here, we've got a sort of bush down at the front there. It's very prolific when it gets going, and very nice as a tea. You know, just pour some boiling water over it and it's very, very nice, very fragrant indeed. And also the first of the spinach as well. We've got you know, a couple of handfuls of spinach there. This is just this perpetual like spinach and chard which just keeps going and going. The more you pick it, the more it grows. So yeah, very, very nice to be starting to actually get some things now. But of course, while that's all very interesting, I'm sure you didn't tune in to hear about what the weather's been doing in North London or what we've been picking, although I do know some people do like to follow that. Most of you are here to listen about some whiskey, I guess. So what is the Allotment Dram today, I hear you ask? Well, it's a brand new whiskey, had a very limited launch so far, but very exciting actually, and it is the Johnnie Walker Black Ruby, and this is an extension of the Johnnie Walker Black Label family. It's been created by Dr. Emma Walker, who's the master blender for Johnnie Walker, and it's actually her first entry into the Johnnie Walker Black Label sort of family collection, so to speak. And what she's tried to do here is actually explore and expand upon the depth of sweetness and fruitiness that you get in Johnnie Walker, the regular Johnnie Walker Black Label. So how has she done that? Well, there's several different cask types here which it lists on the side of this very sort of sleek looking black glass bottle. Actually very, very nice bit of design there with the sort of purple reddish label. But on the side it you know, there's different cask types here. So it's bourbon cask, it is two types of sherry cask, which is Pedro Jimenez and Oloroso sherry, and also some red wine casks. So yeah, very, very interesting mix, and I'm guessing this is what is, you know, particularly those sherry casks and the red wine casks is what's going to dial up the sweetness and the fruitiness. But within the blends, Emma Walker and the team have picked distilleries from across Diageo's portfolio, you know, from across Scotland. So you've got particularly featured here, you've got Rose Isle and Cardew from Speyside, you've got Clynelish from the Highlands, you've got Glenkinchie from the Lowlands, and also Cameron Bridge, single grain from the Lowlands as well, and also Kalila from Islay, so plus some others. But all of those, they all heavily feature in the regular Johnnie Walker range anyway, so it's no surprise to find them here. But then you've just got this slightly different sort of cask makeup that we're getting in the black ruby here. So this is bottled at 40%. Should cost you about £35, which, you know, doesn't seem too bad at all. And at the moment it's available in selected markets in Europe and also via malts.com, which is the Diageo whiskey website, so you can actually purchase it from there as well. It's going to be released into the UK and around other markets sort of throughout 2025, so you know, wherever you are it will turn up at some point. But for now it's just selected markets in Europe and malts.com. So I think probably without further ado we should have a taste, shouldn't we? That's quite enough chit chat and sort of background, I think. But as I say, I really like the design, this sort of glass, black glass bottle, you know, very, very handsome. You know, it's certainly since we received our bottle, you know, it has sort of sat quite handsomely on the side with some of our other whiskies. So yeah, let's have a smell and a taste, see what we've got. So let's pour it out. Oh, look at that, lovely. yeah, sort of this lovely sort of coppery, maybe the suggestion's in the name, but almost like ruby. It's got a tint of sort of ruby, sort of redness to it there. Just can't quite see because the light's quite dull today here. Oh, very expressive on the nose, very approachable. It's got a lovely sweetness. There's like a caramel-like sweetness, and then some bonfire sort of smoke, bit ashy, bit charcoaly. Yeah, quite signature really. This sort of caramel, bit of green apple, bonfire smoke, you know, all signature like Johnnie Walker Black Label sort of pointers so far. But there is also some extra fruitiness, there's some redness here. So I'm thinking like sort of hedgerow berries, like the blackberries that we get on the bush along the side of the plots here. You know, those sort of brambles, raspberry, it's slightly confected sort of raspberry, like a raspberry jam almost. Maybe even a bit of sort of cranberry in there, a bit of milk chocolate as well just coming through. But let's have a taste. Gosh, that's very good. Really soft, sort of fudgy, buttery, sort of caramel. Then you've got the smoke. The smoke's never far away, actually. This sort of bonfire, being kind of sort of wisping and wrapping around everything. Yeah, very, very nice. Bit of this green apple again. Maybe even some red apple, like the dried red apple, maybe as well. But yeah, then underneath you've got this sort of rich red berries, sweet ashy smoke. It's a lovely combination actually. Again, these sort of brambles, blackberries, these hedgerow berries, a bit of that raspberry jam as well. And then there's a bit of, it's like chocolatey, malty sort of ness underneath. Yeah, very, very nice. Let's have another taste. Yeah, that's very good. The balance between sweet, fruit and smoke is very, very expertly done here. Very, very good. Yeah, there's a sort of definitely red apple now. I'm getting a bit more sort of redness, almost like a rose hip syrup or cordial, something like that. A lot of the sort of buttery fudge or caramel, and then all wrapped around in this lovely bonfire smoke. This malty biscuit is a bit more prominent now with the second taste, as my palate is sort of, my taste buds have tuned in a bit. Yeah, it's like a malty biscuit, you know, malty chocolate biscuit. Very, very good. And then just at the end, I'm getting a little almost like menthol, minty thing, which is quite curious. Yeah, and almost like the smoke turns slightly more ashy, like drying and charcoal-like. But yeah, very, very nice. We were delighted to firstly hear about this bottling. I mean, we love what Johnnie Walker and particularly Emma Walker, Dr. Emma Walker, does with it, and then to receive the bottle as well, you know, sort of almost ahead of the actual release. You know, we're very lucky in what we do, and you know, this happens from time to time. But yeah, very, very nice. I think people are going to love this. You know, it's so approachable, very nice drinking, just like this. You know, imagine it over like a big chunk of ice as well, you know, on a sort of warmish day. It's certainly warmer than it is today. But yeah, very, very nice either of those ways. But what also came with the pack that we received was like several different cocktail recipes. So it's obviously designed with that in mind as well. You know, blended whiskey is often used in cocktails, but this has so much sort of this luscious red fruitiness, this added sweetness, this sort of smokiness, that it would really stand up and be very flexible in a cocktail, I think. So yeah, very, very good indeed. So I think from myself and the Johnnie Walker Black Ruby blended Scotch whisky, that we will bid you farewell. We will let you get on with whatever you were doing before you stumbled across this video. We hope you've enjoyed it, and that you like the sound of the whisky, and we hope to see you again soon for another Allotment Dram. Cheers!